Yeah, I was about not to show up. As you already know, the cat is out of the bag. In I have a presentation in a week and a half or so.
Hmm. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
afraid.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you got some preparing to do.
Most of the research has been done. Right now, I was working on my, but it's gonna be a demo as we go build,
Hmm. Yeah.
playing
Okay.
with
So
fire.
lots of live coding.
Yeah, that's how I enjoy my sessions.
Yeah. Right on.
As opposed to, and I was telling my wife, right, when I go to meetups or events, when somebody goes here, they just show you a bunch of slides, and they try to go deep into the topic, right? Like you can do this, that. Like here's an example. Voila, this is what I did. Like, oh, okay, but that does not give me the confidence to, like, how do you get from point A to point B? Make me feel comfortable. That's what I like to do. I'm learning something brand new I know nothing about, point A to point B. So when I go home tonight, I have a reference to follow at least.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
that's my
like I
take.
like live coding. I like both consuming and doing live coding. I think it's fun to
Mhm.
be up in front of folks and lay down some code and that kind of stuff. I don't think it's necessarily a deficiency of adequate foundation to go through slides
Mhm.
instead. I think
Yeah,
Corey House says that the idea is to kind of, it's a sales pitch rather than a deep dive, and I think that makes sense,
right.
right? Getting people excited enough that they want to go check it out on their own. So I don't think there's any wrong way, but I think certainly live coding
Yeah.
is provided that the presenter is able to move around their IDE and doesn't get stuck on some, oh, what's going on here kind of a thing,
Like,
then
whoops,
live
whoops.
coding is pretty fun to consume.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do a mix. I'm not saying no slides. I'm gonna have some slides, but I'm not gonna spend like half an hour
Yeah,
some
yeah,
concept. I'm gonna go. I'm not also gonna brief through them. I'm going to say, hey, listen, this is the bare minimum that you should know. And if you don't know through these slides and words or concepts, how about if I show you some code? Maybe that will start to make sense if you see them in some
yeah,
application. So I'm gonna start with that. I'm not gonna bombard him with like tons of information. Like here you go, halfway.
yeah, yeah.
So it's going to be more like we're going to be looking at these three main concepts, and we're going to apply them in a live demo. And
Talk is cheap.
exactly, and as I walk into the demo, I'm going to say, hey, remember that concept X? Well, here it is, implemented. Remember that other concept? Well, here it is, concept A and concept B playing together in a harmony. That's my idea. We'll see how it goes, but that's my idea.
Cool. I'm sure you'll do wonderfully. I have confidence in you, man.
Thank you.
I know you got good
Yeah, I
stuff
just
to
need to
offer.
practice.
Yeah.
I just got to practice a little more. Once again, I'm very rusty. And I can't wing this one. I can't wing it. If it was like 10-minute talk, maybe even half an hour, I could wing it. But it's like an hour and change.
Yeah.
So I have a big chunk, and I have to really practice. My wife even told me that she's like, "You can't wing this shit. You got to practice it, right?" I'm like, "Yes, I know I do."
Cool.
Because she was like, "This is brand new to you. You never done it before, so you have to practice it." And she's right, and that's what I'm doing right
How
now.
does
I'm
she know
going through
so
my
much
demo.
about it? She's
How
not a
does
coder, is she?
She's not, but well, have I ever shared the story with you guys about um, in I'm going to share this through the podcast, Dave. Yes, I am. I'm the what is it? Double dipping. What is that called? Double dipping or double down, whatever. Yeah. Um, cleaning out the house. I'm going through my to-do list. Okay, Dave, you're pretty high.
Yeah.
So my first job, right, was to be a TA at one of these code boot camps, right? You
Oh
guys
yeah, you
remember
told me
that,
that. Yeah.
right? Well,
Yeah.
initially, my job was to just grade projects and help people who were struggling to the program, right? The laggers.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna keep me away in a desk. I'm gonna grade some projects, and I'm gonna have a one-on-one tutoring sessions, right? Okay, no problem. I'm learning more, blah blah blah. Then out of nowhere, they asked to be more in classroom because it was cheaper to put a TA in the classroom for project week than it was for the instructors. Higher rate.
Mm.
So it makes sense, right? And it was things involved. People know that I'm the HTML, CSS guy. On and all, CSS and HTML guide, like walkthrough, like step by step to help people in the project. Nobody asked me, nobody told me. I just took initiative because I saw a need and I delivered. Well, I thought my hands were going to be clear once I finished the tutorial in a Word document. So say, hey, instructors, give this to your students so they don't bother me asking the same question over and over freaking again, right? It was a selfish thing. So no problem. Some of the trainers were like, okay, Jose, thank you. Here it is. Then one of the trainers, he was kind of my buddy, pseudo mentor. He was like, Jose, I'm gonna give you some time in my class to present this to the class. I'm like, whoa, wait, what? Like, no, this is TA. I don't do this stuff. It's like, no, Jose, this is your stuff. You deliver it. I'm like, crap. So he put me in the spot. 22 years old, not having really good conversation, talking, communication, speech. Class of, I don't know how it was the first class, about 30 people or so, plus the big honchos in the school, right?
Yeah.
They wanted to see what I had to offer.
Nice.
Not at all. So guess what? I delivered. People loved it. It became part of the curriculum. So every time it was that week of ASP.NET, I delivered each time to help out people who did not have that confidence. I don't know HTML, I don't know anything. I'm like, cool, no problem. Here it is. And I presented it. So I got better each time, obviously. And we also had night classes. And I was with my now fiance, my girlfriend. She would be bored at home. She's like, I had no class at night. And I had classes at night to cover, right? Work. She's like, can I just come with you? I'm like, sure. So we'll pick her up, take her to the classroom. She will be there reading a book or doing whatever. And
cool.
she will be watching me deliver this over and over again. And she's like, sometimes she's like, are these people serious? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, they're getting paid a lot of money and they don't know the basics that you know? Like, oh, and she's not a developer at all. She never wanted to be. I asked her many times, and like, I was like, honey, you can pick this shit up faster than a lot of these people, right? She's like, I know. I used to like it. That's it. So that's how she knows about my delivery skills, because she used to be my assistant many times, helping me prepare, printing stuff out, getting shit done. She has been at the beginning of this trip, like very beginning. So she knows all the ups and downs and all the victories and all the defeats for sure. So it has been quite a ride. That's why she knew sometimes when I used to just like try to wing it. She's like, don't do that. You gotta practice this a little bit more. So right now, when I told her about this talk, she's like, you're not gonna wing this one, are you? Like, I was thinking about it. She's like, you're not gonna do well if you wing it for almost 2 hours. You can wing something that's like 5 minutes to 10 minutes, but something like this requires more practice. So
that's cool.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
And she's and right here, like I showed you last week, this is the study room. It has become a study room. So it allows me to focus and concentrate a little more. It's another room in my place. down here now with my crappy internet connection. Yay. And getting shit done. Really practicing, going over my demos and my slides. Well, not my slides, yeah, but the information that I want to show in the slides.
Cool.
And having a blast.
Did you ever tell her that programming and doing HTML, CSS are two very different things, and it makes sense that somebody might know one and not the other?
She doesn't have the patience to be doing either or. She's pretty good once again, because she has been with the trip a long time. So whenever I tell her about Visual Studio or C# or VB.NET or HTML, she catches the shit on. Like, she catches a lot of the stuff. Like, she knows the buzzwords. She may not know exactly what they mean, but she even knows inheritance. What does she knows about? Inheritance, overloading, overriding, polymorphism.
Cool.
All of the stuff. And not because she wants to, but because she has been around with me so often that she just, picks it up. So
cool.
And I tried to, trust me, guys, I tried to sell her on this programming thing, right? Like, honey, but you will make so much money, and I'm here to teach you or guide you all the way through. You know my background, I'm worth it. She's like, no. It's like, I see how stressed you get. I see how angry and upset you get when something is not working. Like, no. She's like, besides, I don't want to be sitting my butt all day down in a cubicle or anything like that. She's like, no, I'm not that kind of person. She's more of a doer, like physically doer. So that's why she's going back for nursing.
Cool. Yeah. Sean, what's going on, man?
Hey, Sean.
Hey, how's it going?
Real good, man.
Things are going all right, I guess.
Heck yeah.
I don't have a big presentation to give anytime soon, so.
Yeah. Maybe you should.
Well, I submitted to CodeMash, but yeah, I don't know if I'll get into that. So
it's probably a shortage of user groups around your area, I imagine. Probably have to go pretty far to.
There's a ton in the cities, which is probably 2 hours away, but
yeah, it's a long way to go.
Yeah, for like a night, it's something like I could do it occasionally, but my wife wouldn't be too happy about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I get asked to do the Fort Collins, Northern Colorado.NET user group, and it's more than an hour and a half. It's probably not quite 2 hours to get there. And so, if they ask me to talk, I'll go for that. But otherwise, I'm not going to just show up for any of them. So it's that kind of stuff. So what else is new, guys? What are we going to talk about today? What fantastic things should we share with one another?
That's a good question.
My son's birthday is tomorrow. I'll share that. So we're going to go to Dart Wars tonight with some of his buddies. It's Nerf gun thing where people get in different colored vests and stand on different sides of the room and try to shoot each other with these Nerf darts.
What year mark is he at then?
What's that?
How old is he turning?
Oh, 8 years old.
8. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
he's your youngest, or?
He is the youngest. Yeah. This is the final of the birthday season, right? So the girls have already had theirs in June and August. So this ends the birthday season. So yeah, girls are 11 and 10 and he's 8.
Gotcha.
So it's good. Yeah. So we'll have some cake and ice cream after that, and I don't know, probably pizza, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what the wife has in mind for feeding these kids. But.
How's your with pizza and that coming around? I haven't asked you in a while how you're doing on your stick-to-itiveness with your diet.
So I did do my hardcore for a period thing, right? I started, saying I was going to do hardcore 30 days, got to 25 and then abandoned because of my daughter's birthday. But then it was like, the next day was like, okay, we start the 30. So it basically, it was, 55 out of 60 days, did that and got down under 200 pounds and was feeling a lot better. And then, got to the end of that and I was like, well, slid right back into things, and I'm up, around 210 again. And it's, I don't know what my right answer is. I've been eating a lot of crap with the kids, and I think I need to do that. I need to have those experiences with them. I think what I need to do is, rather than say, hey, I'm going to go hardcore for a period, it's got to be sustainable, right? Kind of like you can't tack on security at the end, right? I can't tack on sustainability at the end. The hardcore idea is just, for a period. It's an all right idea, but I think lifestyle, right? It's time to figure out what the hell's going to be my lifestyle. The other thing too is that the kids' soccer seasons have started now, so my Saturday morning basketball is either I have to cut it real short or don't go at all. And when the kids have 9 a.m. games, then 7 a.m. basketball it's. So I'm probably not even going to do it most weeks if they've got a 9 a.m. game. So it's so that's going to be out. So I'm going to need to find some other sources of activity. The guy that I had been playing racquetball with on Sundays hurt his knee, so he's going to be out for a while. So yeah, I got to get some other stuff in to make sure that I'm getting some activity. So I guess the short answer is it hasn't been good. But I think I'm getting in position to figure out what's going to be the long-term answer, and and then it's going to go. I've been doing poorly on eating vegetables too, right? That's been kind of my thing that I think is probably the linchpin, right? Make sure that I get my vegetables every day, and then around that I can have some liberty to do some things, but I haven't even been doing that. So that I think that's probably square zero there.
Cool. Yeah, the sustainability thing is a big problem. It's not too hard to get the motivation to do something for a little while, but keep it going. I'm terrible right now. For at least the last week, I've done essentially nothing worthwhile that I used to do. Not cold showers, not exercise, not eat anything better, fast, not really. I've been in kind of a funk too lately for some reason. I don't know it's September is a problem. I think the winds are shifting, and every fripping year around this time, a little switch goes off in my head and things don't feel right. So not that I've had much success prior to that, but I didn't feel as gloomy as I did. So I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to have a birthday next week too, which that doesn't really bother me that much, but it does kind of point to the fact that another year has gone by, and I'm still I don't know. I still don't have everything figured out, I guess is the and I guess that's probably a bad expectation, right? I've got to let go of that expectation that there's going to be a time that I'm going to have everything figured out and life's going to be a breeze. So I bet I don't know. I guess maybe a little bit of the JB Rainsberger kind of just wanting something and not knowing what it is, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I get that feeling a lot, the wanting something and not knowing what it is, existential, crisis type deal. But are you hitting a major milestone for birthdays this coming year, or
no? 42.
42. Okay.
Which I guess it is the ultimate answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything, right? So
maybe that's a good sign. You'll figure that out shortly. You just gotta wait until you cross that threshold.
Yeah.
What is it like? A lot of people say that most people don't really achieve any sort of level of greatness until they're into their 40s, anyways.
I guess really, I mean that 40 itself corresponds to the start of the podcast and some of this stuff and getting out there and doing some new things. So maybe I think I am on a road to something. Whatever it is, I don't know. I don't know what the destination is, but I guess that's part of the fun too. So, I'm happier with where I am now than I was 2 years ago. So I guess that's something to be said for that.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, it's always good if you can say that.
Yeah. I was thinking about today too, right? gratitude, right? And thinking about the great blessings that I have in the world. And I mean, this thing, right? I can look at, the likes of Jordan Peterson, who is making $50,000 a month on his Patreon account, and be like, oh shit, I'm getting nothing like that, right? And I think that's natural, and I do that kind of stuff. But when you think about it, man, there are people who are willing to contribute to my efforts in creating something, right? I'm putting out free content, and there are people who decide to pay for that free content, and that means a lot. I mean, that is a big statement about doing something good in the world. And it's not to the scale where it's going to pay for my bills, and I think I've been focused on that fact. But you know what? There's a hell of a lot to be grateful for that. And so I think thank you guys for that is a big part of that. And but it's a big thing to realize that there are people that what I'm doing matters that much to them, to put their dollars where their mouth is, if that makes that's not a good way to state that, but
Sure. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Something I noticed is you don't really have like a higher tier than $10 on there, do you? On your Patreon account?
I don't. And basically I've given the $10 tier to everybody who signs up anyway. And the $10 tier is a monthly hangout that's become a weekly hangout. But I'm going above and beyond here.
Cool.
So
we occasionally get emails about at least I do, who you support now that you've as a patron.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And it actually shows supported by Dave on there. Oh. When you look at it, it's kind of interesting. So a couple times I'm like, oh, well, he's going to take around and turn around and support this person with the money that goes to TF. I'm like, that's kind of interesting, the dynamic. I don't know why they would. I suppose the idea behind, I'm more talking about Patreon here now. Is the idea behind it probably is like, well, if this person's supporting these people, then you might like to support them too, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But
cross sell for Patreon for sure. I think it makes sense from their perspective, no question.
Yeah.
The political slant of the people that I support, I think, is not necessarily in my interests for appealing to my audience. But at the same time, I'm becoming more and more me, and I think that's a good thing. So you know what? If you don't like me, then at least you don't like me, right?
Yeah.
So
you don't like you can stop listening.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess it's kind of a shitty thing to be liked because you like something that's not really me, or disliked, I guess. But I don't know. The old imposter syndrome, right? I'm in some ways I might be a fraud because I'm not really saying what I think, and people might be thinking that I'm something other than what I am.
I wonder if that's something different than like imposter syndrome. Well, I mean, it sort of is, but if you're intentionally holding something back out of fear or something like that, is that because I've heard like people talk about, pretending to be something they're not and not being fulfilled by it because they're not true to who they are as an individual and as a person. So there's this disconnect, and that disconnect causes some sort of strife or some sort of internal struggle that's always omnipresent or whatever. But I think that would probably be a little bit different than imposter syndrome, right? Where it's more like I'm not as good as what everybody I think thinks I am. Not that I'm holding back. I'm just not. I couldn't be here. Like,
it's probably more fraud syndrome than imposter syndrome. But
it seems to be like there's probably a distinction there, but I don't know. I'm not trying to correct you. I'm just more or less exploring the idea behind it. So
Yeah, I think there's, on one hand, there's kind of the parsing of the grammar of, well, parsing of vocabulary and what do we mean by these terms, which is important, right? I mean, it's not, people say, oh, that's just semantics. Well, if we don't get down to what we mean by the words that we say, then we are not communicating. So I think that it does matter, so that's one part of the thing. And then there's the, well, what do you really mean by that, kind of thing. So you can't have one without the other. So
yeah, cool.
Yeah, communication is hard, and it's the Aslak Hellsoyer thing, right? Test your understanding, right, and make sure that we're using the same terms in the same way, just like saying service-oriented architecture, right? It's oh, you're talking about soap services, right?
No, microservices. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, but I do think that I have been, I have not been dishonest with Developer on Fire, except for one time. There was one time I had a guy from GitHub on, and I said, something. I asked him about like their terms of service and that they don't allow kids to create accounts and stuff like that. And I said something about that. I'm glad that they have, some kind of social conscience or something like that. And I regret saying that, because I don't really believe that, right? I think it would be better if they let people make their own choices about that stuff rather than that. But apart from that one time, I don't think I've said anything that I wish I hadn't said. Other than kind of embarrassing things. I was talking to Christine Gorman, a Norwegian, and I said, I talked about your tax dollars or something, and I was embarrassed that I said dollars, because that is a very American centric, kind of a thing. I wish I hadn't said it that way, but that's more just embarrassment than it is, that I said anything that I didn't really think. That one time with Ben Balter, I wish I hadn't said that thing. It kind of slipped out. It wasn't that I was being deliberately deceptive, but I think I have withheld a lot of my opinion on things, social justice and that kind of stuff. I don't think that necessarily means that I've misled folks, but I don't know. I do think diversity matters, and I will happily, feature women and minorities and all of those things, and rightly so, right? So, I mean, I'm all on board with diversity. I just, I have some differing of, the bad guyism of anybody who dares go off the reservation,
Is because okay, this is a good question. I think is having some opinion and choosing not to or choosing to withhold it because it's controversial, even though it represents who you are. Is that disingenuous in any way? I mean, do you guys feel like? I mean, it seems almost necessary in certain cases nowadays, but
I think in the context of Developer on Fire, I think it is absolutely essential that the show be about the guest and not about the host. So I think at least that's my justification, right? That I don't challenge people on some things that I think are not necessarily the right way of going about things. So I don't think it's necessarily disingenuous. I don't know. And I think there's also the self-preservation aspect, right? If it is dangerous to express your opinions in many cases, and we could say punch fear in the face and do it anyway, or you could say, well, that's not necessarily pragmatic.
Yeah, but don't ever screw up and say tax dollars when you mean tax kroners again.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. That was embarrassing to me. I don't think anybody else even noticed. She didn't say anything about it. I don't know if anybody noticed it, but I did, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, it's weird how we can pick up on things like that probably are big to us, but then like nobody else even notices or cares.
Yeah,
like continually. Yeah. Like I feel like I do that all the time. Like something that no one else even thinks about, I sit there and think way too much about. I can't come up with a good example off the top of my head, but I know it happens.
Yeah.
So
Well, I know that's what the instructors in my daughter's piano class were telling them, right? If you mess up, most of the people listening aren't even going to notice that you did, right? Just keep going, and that's and it's true.
okay, these are Daddy's friends. So
Jose, unmute so we can hear the little dude.
What? I don't have my headphone on my microphone, so I don't want to catch the whole background noise. That's why I'm muted. Yeah, he's just checking out, see what I'm doing, what I'm up to.
You're seeing some beautiful faces here.
No, I'm telling you, there's a bunch of nerds, right? Like, oh no, nerds! There you go.
Nerds. Did you guys like Revenge of the Nerds? Remember those movies?
they're all right. Yeah, it was pretty good, I guess.
There were parts that were funny.
Yeah.
I always thought Ogre was funny.
It didn't stick with me as much as other movies have, but it's certainly there.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Whenever I hear functional geeks talking about lambdas, I always think, lambda, 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 right? The tri-lambs.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah, so I was thinking of something. What the hell was it? I don't know. I lost it. Do you know how long it's going to be till CodeMesh makes decisions and whatnot?
Oh, I think their website said end of September they would announce. So
okay, that's not that far off.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. In a way, I'll be relieved if I don't get in.
No.
Just because then I don't have to, first of all, decide whether I'm going to for sure or not. And then also, prepare one or multiple speeches, assuming they don't pick the one that I had already given. So,
yeah, Jose might have done it right. Buy a ticket and then you just get to enjoy the experience.
Yeah, it costs a heck of a lot more though.
It does.
So,
yeah.
Is he frozen or is he?
Oh yeah, I guess so.
He's just having a really, really intense staring contest. So
yeah. Oh, he went black now.
Move. Oh, geez. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I went on a fishing charter yesterday, so that was kind of interesting. First time I'd ever done that.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Salmon and trout up in.
Oh,
Lake
really?
Superior. That's
cool.
Yeah, that was a pretty good catch. I think it's kind of cool, but like at the same time, you're just in a boat. There's like 7 lines out, and then just somebody picks up a line as soon as it goes, and then you reel in the fish and you put it in the. It's kind of like it's not climactic to me in any way. It was like the first time I went, the only time I went deer hunting was like I got you get up early in the morning, you go out to the spot and you sit down and I did this, and it's this big, like, first time deer hunting. This is going to be good. And, like, I sit there for about 15 minutes. A deer walks across the way. I raise the rifle. I shoot it. The deer falls over. I wait a little bit. I go over there. It's dead.
That's it.
I'm like, oh, well, that was and why do people do this? Like, I guess the meat's good. So, I mean, venison's not terrible. And it's a fairly cheap, well, actually, no, probably if you consider how much it costs for the weapons, the ammo, setting in time it takes to license, and then just the missed opportunities that often happen. It's probably not very advantageous to actually go deer hunting for the meat. You could probably just buy a tuber of hamburger from Walmart and call it good.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, but that kind of like there's like I thought it'd be kind of interesting if you could go like deer hunting, but like with knives or something like that, where you actually have some risk involved with it. Like, okay, I'm gonna go where it takes some skill. Like if you get good at throwing axes or something like that, and go deer throwing axe hunting. I don't know if that's a thing, but it sounds like it'd be freaking awesome.
Man, archery is hard enough.
Yeah,
the success rate in archery hunts are pretty low. So I think that's going far enough. My dad is a big archery hunter. He loves it, and so
my brother-in-law does a fair amount of archery hunting too, but it's because he's I guess he's technically a felon, so he can't own a gun.
Oh my gosh!
So, but he can still go bow hunting. So, but yeah, it was kind of one of these like he's a felon, but it's like not like he's not a hard. It was a drug-related crime, and he was really young, and he went through kind of a thing, and now he's like just like an average Joe, but he's got this thing that sits on his record now. It's kind of like
such a piss
haunting. Yeah. So,
Jose, can there be such a thing as a victimless crime?
You caught me off guard there. Yeah. Sometimes there's people who are in the wrong spot at the wrong place. Sometimes. But usually some things are self-induced.
Yeah. So, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I just, the thing with drugs, right? I mean, no victim, no crime to me. There's the state has no business telling me what I can do to my own body, and fuck them if they want to be that kind of, So yeah, that I have a lot of sympathy for somebody who has a lot of restrictions on what they're able to do, and probably a difficult time getting a job and some of those things because of something that,
Well, yeah, he's kind of so like when he got out, he tells me the story, and I don't expect he'll ever listen to this. I don't. Anyways, he tells me the story like he's trying to find a job and he's trying to work, and it's like really, really difficult. So he ended up working at, I think, Motel 6 for a while, and then from there he took a job with this program that he went through, and some churches and things to doing maintenance type stuff, and build that repertoire up. And then he took a job with a county here in Minnesota to do maintenance, and so he's kind of built his way back up. But he talks about it in compared to some other folks that I know who have every capability in the world to work, and they have absolutely no desire and or feeling that they should, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
and they simply just I guess drain on others without offering some other productive activity that they're doing. So it's yeah. It's something we bitch about at 2 a.m. when we're having a few beers sometimes.
Yeah. Everybody bitches about stuff, and I think a little perspective like that, right, of some of the things that other people have been through go a long way to it ain't so bad in a lot of cases.
Yep.
Much to be grateful for is something I said earlier, right? It's there are good things going on. Of course, I don't feel like working either, so yeah.
Well, I don't know. Like I think most people actually want to work on something. They just don't want to work on what they can get paid to get to work on.
Yeah.
Like
that's the weird thing. I mean, I want podcasting to be a career, but it does not feel like work, right? If I'm not in an IDE, I don't feel like I'm doing work that I should get paid for, which is weird. But
there's imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's the imposter syndrome, guys. It's
you're still a fraud.
It's
just kidding.
No, well, the thing is, we're all frauds, right? So
yeah.
Screw that. All these people talking about imposter syndrome, and you know what? Fighting it and all this stuff, right? Like, oh, I'm not one, and I'm gonna fear that somebody's gonna find me out. Like, you know what? What do you say? Yeah, I'm an imposter. So what? What's the big deal? It's like being scared of the boogeyman. You know what? The boogeyman sometimes just needs a hug and a kiss, maybe. I don't know. whatever floats your boat, right? So sometimes that's what I'm trying to do lately. I mean, like Dave was saying, earlier, it's totally different from what, 2 years ago. So it's mine.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I'm looking back of what I've done. I have done more in the last year, 2 years than I've done in like before that for like the past 5 to 10 years. Not even exaggerating, you know.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is, you know what? Just let that. Just embrace it. Really, just embrace the spot, but really embrace it. Not tell others that you're embracing it. You know, because otherwise, you know, and I think that's part of the fun. Shivering, like the shivers and the little fear and whatnot. That's part of the fun. That's part of the thrill.
Yeah. Kevin O'Shaughnessy
Yeah.
on Developer on Fire, right? You know, if you're nervous, then that means you care about what you're doing. That was cool. Yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, it's more of you know, embracing that little, like the little jitters, whatever that may be. Because you know, I read somewhere that it makes you feel alive. It makes you feel like you're doing something out of your comfort zone, and that you're pushing yourself outside of your limits, maybe. And you might go right, you might go wrong. Who cares? As long as you did your best, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to happen, and the only thing you have control over is your reaction towards it, your behavior. That's it. You know.
Yeah.
But I get it. I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. I mean, the thoughts of, I mean, I'm presenting again, right? I haven't presented like this in like years. And all those ideas of, you know, negative thoughts, right? Like I said, the judge, you know, coming in, imposter syndrome. I'm not good enough. Why should I be teaching this? Why am I even presenting? You know, there's other people better than me, blah, 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 blah. Because it's fun. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little anxious, but at the same time, looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to, you know, sharing some stuff that I found cool. And here it is, guys. If you guys like it, great. If you don't like it, well, tough luck, you know, kind of thing. I can't please everybody. That's the other thing, right? And we can't please everybody.
Yeah.
Somebody's always gonna bitch, and you guys were talking about something, you know. Somebody's always gonna find a negative to think, even us, within us, right? We always do something, but we focus on like little things, nitpicking. Oh, you were saying, Dave, right? Well, Dave, oh, you should have eaten that. Oh, you should have, you know, done more exercise. Oh, you know, all those little criticisms and going into our heads, right? The thing is, earlier, nobody else cares but you. Nobody else notices but you. Most of the time, you know. And we think other people care, but let me tell you guys, everybody's so freaking worried about themselves that they don't even notice other people.
Yeah, it's insightful. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
We're all narcissistic SOBs, really.
Yeah.
Yes, what Sean said there. Yes, to a point. To a point. Yeah, it's true though. We are also, you know, focusing on our everyday deal that we forget about others. I mean, we do it with our families. I mean, not to be bad or anything, but unconsciously, right? We do that and we ignore or we neglect those closest to us. I mean, here for like three months now. Now I don't even know my neighbors. I never said hi to my neighbors. And I live in a townhouse, right? Apart. And I see them sometimes outside, you know, I wave my hand and whatever, but it's not like, hey, what's your name? How are you? Kind of thing. Not even that. They're also self-focused on whatever we are doing that, you know, we think everybody's watching us. And actually, this is what my wife told me one day. She dropped some psychology on me. And she was like, you know what that's called? That's called, it's a psychological term for this. A fictitious audience. Like you think everybody's watching you, but in reality, nobody really is. But in our heads, we all think we're that important that everybody around us is watching us all the time.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of the downside of the rubber duck, right? You know, you can have that fictitious audience that you can bounce your ideas off, and that will bring your subconscious to bear on your on your own thinking on the thing, and that's the the bright side of the force, right? But then there's the dark side that is the fictitious audience that is criticizing you and putting you down and all of that, and really it's nothing but a projection of yourself. And we are dicks to ourselves, right? We're really nice to other people, and we're really hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing.
That's called the judge, buddies.
Yeah.
It's called the judge.
Yeah.
Seriously, you can call it ego, you can call it loss of esteem, whatever. But that little voice inside your head, the judge, that's basically it. That's the great, when they say, I'm my greatest enemy. Well, there you go. It's a little voice telling you can't do something, or you should do something, or you should do something, or the critic, the stuff, right? That we all have faced at one point or another in our lives. Yeah, that's it, man. It's a freaking judge, really. You can call it by other names, but it's the same freaking thing. It's that voice inside your head.
Yeah. Does that mean I get a black robe and a powdered wig?
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? But that's basically it, right? And like I said, I've been continuing to read, well, more like listen to this book, right? Soul Without Shame. Is on the. I think it's not properly named for a title, but I was expecting something different, but I got something else even better, I think. And the continuous topic is the head, the little voice inside your head telling you that you suck, or you're not good, or that you shouldn't be doing that, you shouldn't be doing this instead, you're not good enough. Even though you have accomplished a lot, it's going to tell you not have accomplished enough. Well, you have accomplished enough, but not compared to. This is where the comparison starts.
Yeah.
Or you're not what you should be today.
Yeah.
And that kind of bullshit that we all deal with. Let's call it as it is. We deal with that crap every single day. I know I do.
Yeah.
And this is what I was telling you, Dave, last week about one of the tips says right there. Talk to yourself, like talk out loud or record how your judge or your voice inside your head is talking to you, like belittling you, calling you names, calling you all this crap that you will not tell anyone, right? And you will not, say this to anyone, but yet you allow your judge to tell you that crap.
Yeah.
Allow ourselves that crap.
Yeah. If anybody talks to me the way my judge talks to me, then they are not going to be met with a friendly me. Yeah.
Don't agree with the inner me.
Yeah.
Only I can do that.
No, but right. Well, but that's part of the angle, right, of what the author's trying to say. It's like if we don't allow this kind of talk from anyone outside of our physical being, why do we allow then?
Yeah.
When are we going to stop this? And the thing is, nobody has the ability to stop it but us.
Yeah, we'd be mortified if we acted toward someone else the way we act toward ourselves. And if our kids did that, right? I mean, you would absolutely be terrified, right? You would be terrified's not the right word, but yeah, that would be as bad a thing as could happen.
That's what I've been thinking lately, that this whole imposter syndrome, right, is just a side effect, not the root.
Yeah.
And it's hard because sometimes we focus so much on side effects, symptoms of the problem. And sometimes when you think you found the root of the problem, you find out that it's even deeper than that. And that's when the rabbit hole starts to get fun. We start tackling the actual root of the problem as a more at the core. Everything else seems to, have like side effects, like ripples, like you fix it in one central area, everything else just, it's like, when you have a bugs in your, which is will not compile, you have like 100 error messages, but it's one thing in one shared class, you fix that, boom, built. like
Yep.
that. That's my analogy for that.
Ripple
But it's hard.
effects. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's hard because you know what? Even your judge is telling you, don't look here. You have no business looking here. If you look here, you don't know what you're gonna counter. So you know, it's like that guard against your own emotions, feelings, and experiences that is telling you not to look here because you might regret it, you might not like it. All this bull, right? That it's a tenacious guard. But
Man.
sometimes we need to bring him down. So sorry, I did not mean to get all philosophical and all this kind of talk, but
You know what? That's
you know,
that's really you know, so many good things to say about that, right? I mean, that's really what so much of literature is about, right? I mean, it's the ring, right? The one ring. You know, the quest for you know, finding the solution to what to do with this one ring. You know, or the Sorcerer's Stone, you know, with Harry Potter, right? It's the thing that is so heavily guarded by, you know, by all sorts of different obstacles to getting to that solution, and that one nefarious thing that is that is blocking your path to your ultimate success. You know, and in Harry Potter, right, the final test to get to the Sorcerer's Stone is the Mirror of Erised, where you see the thing that you desire most, right, which is, you know, it's so hidden by these things that are guarding that, right, that your judge is pointing you away from the thing that you really desire. It's an archetype that we see in a lot of these stories that tell us a hell of a lot about how to live. And so I don't know, that just really resonated with me. You know, I also got to thinking as you were talking about the judge, that Jesus had it wrong a little bit, right? I mean, he didn't have it wrong. The idea of that you know, you see the log, or you see the speck in your brother's eye, you see the splinter in your brother's eye, but not the log in your own, right? Or whatever translation you want to look at it, right? But you know, at the same time, holy shit, right? We're hard on ourselves, you know. So
sometimes, and Dave, sometimes, and once again, this goes to the book, right? And other literature that I've been reading and listening to, right? Part of it, it's why are we so hard on ourselves? And sometimes this judge ego, whatever you want to call it, right? This inner voice takes the figure of others in the past, talked us down, and you know, mistreat us or whatnot, right? Like I believe the judge is nothing but a recollection of traumas that we have had,
yeah,
bad experiences. So sometimes in our heads, right, we give a either a physical or a voice to this, right? Even though it's coming out from within, right? When it says, "Hey, Dave, don't eat that. Your diet." About at what point were we thinking about? First, the collection, right?
yeah,
It's just like, you know, little things like that. Like, but the thing is this is you, only you who can know this. Nobody else can tell Dave what happened, right? So, and it gets funner when he talks about when he covers relationships and how a relationship of two people is not really two people; it's actually four because everybody brings a judge, and when the problem and everything goes great when the two judges get along, they feed off each other. One of the judges starts being a bigger prick than the other judge. Then that's when real things come about, and that's when it struck me a lot in, you know, my relationship, right, with my girlfriend, fiance technically, and you know how things really fly off the wall when our judges don't agree, but us like a people just get along fine. It's just hard each other that things just go crazy. So that, I mean, it covers like a lot of topics. This book, it goes from inner, outer, you know, relationships, providing some solutions and whatnot. So I don't want to water it down, and I invite anyone really who wants to listen to that book. It goes to the core. It goes straight to what the problem is. It doesn't just sugarcoat a lot of stuff. Sometimes there's a lot of cursing. There's a lot of cursing in some areas, but that's because the author, I think, is trying to portray how the judge talks down on you.
Yeah,
even in the tone, right? He gives the mean tone. So you, when you're listening to it, you get like, oh shit, yeah, that's exactly how a freaking judge talks. How I'm treated like garbage, like crap, like I'm not good enough, like I'm never good, you know. So it kind of comes out of nowhere sometimes. I'm like, holy crap, this is for real, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's a little exercises, right, that they give at the end of the chapter. Like I said, whenever somebody's judging you, right, who do you imagine in that voice? Who do you physically put in you know, when somebody's telling you that inside your head?
Never thought about that. Who? I don't know if I can come up with a person that that embodies that nasty. That you know, I don't know. I'm going to think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
does something come to mind for you?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? The first one, top of my head. And I don't mind sharing this anymore. It was my mom. You know, I found out that honestly, guys, I like you and everything. I really think you're awesome. But to life, I was not. I don't care about impressing anyone. Parents, really, my mom, because she's the one who raised me, right? So I have this idea, right, inside my head. My judge is telling me, hey, you're not good enough. You gotta try harder. You gotta do better. You gotta do this and that. But when I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking of like my mom and my mom's voice saying to me, I'm not good enough. I need to do better. I need to do faster. I need to do more and more and more. Or for example, right, when I wake up, another really easy example, when I wake up late, right? I think of my mom when she used to score me when I was a kid and used to be late for school. It's like, there you go again, waking up late. I told you not to stay up late. I told you not to, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. So that shit comes to my head, right? Like that. Even though it could be like 5 minutes later, the kids see me have to be alive, right? Or the other one, I should have been, oh, you should have been awake at this time, not that time. You should have been awake this. You should have eaten that last night. You should have, you know, all this should have, could have, would have. And then because I remember how my mom used to like kind of like, you know, come with those comments. And whenever those could have, should have come through inside my head, I give them the voice and the appearance of my mom, like how she would tell me things.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
You know, so that's what I say. I know it's a tough exercise. It's not easy. It's very, how can I put this? Very dangerous to do. What I mean by dangerous is that it could piss you off more than help you. And the reason why I can talk about this freely is because of another thing that I'm going to share when I finally go on Developer on Fire.
Nice.
So a lot of the things will make sense, right? Why I'm comfortable telling to you, well, you guys are not complete strangers anymore, but how I'm even recording this, right? And I'm sharing something so deep, so you know, personal. No problem anymore. You know what? You know why? Because it helps me understand myself. It's one thing when you're saying it inside your head, and it's another thing when you're actually speaking about it.
Yeah.
When you're saying it, especially with saying it to others, oh my God. What does the judge says? Don't say that to them. They have no business knowing that. They're gonna criticize you.
Keep it in.
Because your judge is gonna mistreat my judge, right? But guess what? What I found out is that most people feel very similar, if not the same way, or they can assimilate to what this is. Because we like to think that we are also special, but at the end of the day, we are all struggling almost in the same crap.
It's true.
You know, what Dave said, having an existentialist crisis, I'm going through that myself. I'm going through my midlife crisis early. So what is next? I don't know. What am I going to do in my career? I don't know. At least Dave has something podcasting going on. I have absolutely nothing. I'm like, what am I gonna do now? At least Sean has video games. What the hell do I have? Like, what am I gonna do? Do I go outside of the .NET world and learn JavaScript or Python or something like that? What do I do? I have no freaking clue.
It's hard.
Yet I still have to support my family, right? Which is the most important thing to me right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do we balance that?
Rebuild the bus into an airplane as it goes down the highway at 60 miles an hour. So, yeah.
I wouldn't say I've got video games, by the way. I dabble in that for sure. But
you have an interest in it.
Yes, yeah.
Nothing else.
Perhaps I'm willing to talk about it more than the next guy, but there are a lot of people who are exceptional at it that I am nowhere near. But.
Well, dudes, I should get going. It's been a good time.
Yeah, me too. We're gonna be actually. My wife just reminded me that we're gonna be watching our first football game of the season. Our first football game of the season in our own house.
Mm. Oh yeah, nice.
And the thing is, it has never sunk into me, guys, and I never shared this with you guys, but I have never lived in a place that will say it's mine.
Yeah.
My parents, they never owned their own house. We always rented or whatnot. And now this is my own place. I'm like, oh my God. And my wife's like, this is your own place, right? I mean, you pay the bills and the mortgage and everything. I was like, yeah, I think so. She's like, why can't you just enjoy it? Why can't you just have some fun? So she reminded me finish your talk earlier so we can watch the game today. So if it wasn't for her, all of this stuff would pass over my head. Once again, the freaking judge saying, don't enjoy. There's no time for enjoyment, only for hard work. So you know what, to my judge, you know what? Go F yourself. How about that? Sometimes, there you go. That's what Dave said.
All right.
And try to keep it nice, man, for, that we have a guest right there.
Oh, you're right. But it's headphones, so it wasn't as bad a mistake as I thought it was for a second there.
She's all
I'm off.
So.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm off. Okay, guys. I'm off too. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my afternoon.
All right.
I'll see you next week. Have a great week, guys. Okay.
All right, dudes.
Yep. See ya. Have a good one.
Signing off.
Bye.